Hey guys, Nick here, and welcome to the Omniverse of Nick and part 12 to What If Goku's Heart Virus Turned Him into a Zombie. Now, before we get into today's episode, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the Omniverse of Nick, and further acknowledge and support the future of the Omniverse by checking out the Omniverse's homepage to stay tuned with everything the Omniverse has to offer, as well as commenting future requests and expectations for this year and for the future. With all that said, let's get started. We open up where we ended off last time, with Shenron being summoned to figure out about the Super Saiyan God. After Beerus gives everybody a chance, with his high, really impressive look at Piccolo, Gohan, and Vegeta, and everybody's gains in the story. Goku or not, because he's the one he saw in his dream about the Super Saiyan God. But he's still deciding to give the group a chance. There, Shenron would explain about the Super Saiyan God and how five righteous Saiyans possessing righteous hearts have to formulate a circle and empower their energy into another. And he leaves, being scared off by Beerus. But Piccolo just shuts his eyes, because this time they don't do the ritual right away, because Piccolo already knows what everyone at first fails to realize, but soon starts to pick up what even Piccolo is putting down. He tells everybody that the ritual is better left not even done at all. They don't have five Saiyans, let alone the right number. Think about this for a second. They got Gohan, they got Vegeta, and they got Trunks. That's it. That is literally it. They have three Saiyans, and the ritual said that they have to have five empower energy into another. That makes the total number that they need six, which Whis would then go on to explain further, which means there's no point in doing the ritual because they don't have enough Saiyans to even make an attempt. Bulma is just sad, and everyone reminisces at the fact that if they had Goku and he didn't have that heart virus zombie thing, if that whole thing never happened, maybe they would actually have more. Like, they don't know, because remember, Goten doesn't exist here. As for Videl, she's not going to be boring Pan. So that the group is put in a very perplexing state, so to speak. And Bulma's thinking that they're pretty much done here, especially without Goku. But then she thinks of something and tells Vegeta, "Don't you have a younger brother or something?" Because Tarbo was mentioned in DBS, so that officially made him canon. So of course she would mention it here. But Vegeta says there's no point. He was cast off a great deal before Planet Vegeta was destroyed. He doesn't even know what part of the galaxy or universe he's in. And Tien says that there might be a way to track him down and find other Saiyans or do something. They have to do something. They can't just sit here. That maybe they could find a way to track them down by using the Dragon Balls, or maybe they could pick up on Goku's instantaneous movement, the instant transmission. They have to do something. Beerus says that there's a simple fix to this. Honestly, something he didn't quite think about until now. And he tells Whis to head off and do a little bit of soul searching, so to speak, and see how many Saiyans are left. Whis says that from his note, what he's seeing right now, there's three. Whis manages to find Tarbal, and then there's two Saiyans on a remote, desolate planet. But then he picks up an extra signal, and Beerus just looks at Whis as if to say, "Don't tell them yet," and tells Whis to head off and go get those Saiyans, leaving pretty much everything in the dark, because Beerus is in a good mood right now. And everything. There's no pudding. This is looking to get him the Saiyan God. So he's not going to tell the Earthlings anything, because Beerus kept many secrets. He was a great liar. So he's not going to say anything to the group. He just nods at Whis. Whis taps on his staff, and he leaves. 1 hour later, Whis returns with 4 people behind him. The first few of which are Tarble. The other 2 is a Saiyan named Paragus, who's basically an Elder Saiyan. He's definitely in his old age. He would be slightly younger than when we saw him in canon, but since this is Dragon Ball Super, he's still like, let's just say he's right at the point of turning like to the 80s, the 70s and 80s, when Saiyans actually start to lose their strength and get their looks gone from them. He's right there. We didn't know Paragus' precise age, so I'm going to give a rough estimate. And his taller and kind of more foreboding yet kind of shy son, Broly, and lo and behold, the final figure that they stare at, the one that Whis and Beerus kept a secret, is Goku. And there's no halo. He's not a zombie. He's himself. But before anybody can say, do, or react to anything, Paragus eyes Vegeta up and down and immediately yells at Broly to attack and kill Vegeta. And Broly wastes no time at rushing at Vegeta and ferociously attacking him. Vegeta hasn't fully recovered from his fight with Beerus, so it's a much weaker Vegeta. He can't turn into Super Saiyan 3 or Super Saiyan Hell, so Vegeta's on the defensive. Beerus immediately flares up his aura, not wanting some kind of, conflict to stew and get him angry after all of this is going so well for him. So he flares up his aura and prepares a Hakai to show he means business and to stop right now. Paragus immediately knows who this person is because, like King Vegeta, Paragus definitely would know about Beerus. So Paragus, knowing this and looking at the God of Destruction, knows that, yeah, you don't want to make this god mad. Revenge is... Paragus might be mad and hungry for revenge, but also really hungry because, Planet Vampa. But that's beside the point. Anyway, he knows that if he wants to live alongside his son, they better stop right now. And he pulls out the remote and electrocutes Broly. But Future Gohan destroys the remote, and Paragus yells at him, but Future Gohan explains the whole story and wonders why Paragus wanted Vegeta dead. They know about Paragus and Broly's past, yada, yada, yada. And Vegeta just looks at Paragus and Broly and says, whatever anger and revenge you wanted against my father. It's really pathetic to see a Saiyan go down the full route of wanting the same on his son. I care not for my family or my planet or past anymore. And it would be smart of you to accept the same. Especially since we have to find mutual ground here to appease the God of Destruction. And who knows, you might actually get something out of it. Beerus just rubs his ear and is just, Saiyans. He's just exasperated. Tarble then talks to Vegeta and is very pleased to see his brother after so long. And the funny thing is, this is only the second story on this Omniverse that I've put Tarble in, besides my What If Vegeta Raised Tarble. So, yeah, and it's also the first story where I'm really having Broly and Paragus featured as characters. This story is just full of surprises. Tarble talks to Vegeta and is very pleased to meet him after all this time. It's been freaking forever. And Tarble's wife is not going to be here, and I'm kind of going to throw that whole thing out, especially with Abo and Kado. Let's just canonize Tarble to just be on his own, like the Vegeta Raised Tarble thing, and because that whole thing made that movie, it was kind of dumb, I'm not going to lie. Tarble just being by himself makes so more of his character can be rationalized by making him the central plot of his own makeup, so to speak. But he's really happy to meet both Vegeta's son and his family and get to see his brother after all this time. And Tarble meeting Bulma and everything like that, it's a really nice brotherly meeting. And Vegeta's just like, you've barely grown your power since the last I saw you. But really, it is somewhat, you know, happy seeing his brother again. It's somewhat. Vegeta was one whose thing with family, he more or less barely showed it unless it was actually vital. Like if Trunks or Bulma would get hurt or slapped or something, or if the moment was to show true Saiyan pride, then Vegeta would show emotion. And then like when Bulma was born and stuff like that. But we all know that Vegeta in this moment wouldn't really be showing emotion. You know, it's Vegeta. And then, last but not least, Goku. And just says as casual, "Hey everybody, how you doing? It's been a long time." Gohan, along with everybody, mainly Gohan, is the first to stare at his father. It's really him. And he goes in and hugs his father. This would be a tear-jerking moment. Goku has been dead for a lot longer than 7 years this time. Screw King Kai's and the Cell Saga death. He has been dead since his soul was erupt from his body during the heart virus thing and the zombie thing. His soul was in limbo until his physical form was actually brought back after the zombie corpse was destroyed after Bobbity and everything. So it's been a really long time since Gohan and everybody saw Goku like this. And Gohan and everybody go in and give Goku a really big hug. And it is a wonderful moment. They were not expecting this. And Beerus and Whis hid this on purpose. Because remember, Whis can bring people back to life. He brought Frieza back to life. So of course, he would bring Goku back. Come on, you guys didn't really think that Goku was gone forever, didn't you? Because Whis is a literal Deus Ex Machina and can do basically anything. So Goku coming back was a 100 out of 100. And everybody, and I mean everybody, is happy to see him. And Goku talks with Gohan and gets to learn everything that happened since that day at his own house before he died. And he talks to Piccolo, and he knows everything about Piccolo and the journey they did in the Demon Realm and all his power, and how he became the protector of Earth alongside Gohan. And Goku also talks to Vegeta and learns about his new Super Saiyan Hell form, and he also says that he did see, at least whenever his body was returned to him, he didn't get to see everything because his soul was in limbo. But right when his basically soul and body were one again, he was able to see some of what went on, like right at the beginning of Daima, but he wasn't able to see like the vast majority of what happened after he died. So getting to learn everything that Vegeta and the whole group has been through, it's amazing. And honestly, Goku feels like he missed out. And Vegeta says, "Kakarot, you're going to have a hard time catching up to me, let alone your son or the Namekian. Because if you really do not know about what has gone on, you have no idea that you're basically not only the weakest Saiyan, but the weakest out of everyone on this planet. No matter what training you might have done, there's no amount of training that your soul in limbo could catch you up for." But Goku just smiles and says, "That's alright." And then he shows a hand gesture with the peace sign saying that even through his soul being in limbo, I'm going to take some creative liberty here and say, like Frieza, that he did mental training as basically a soul, or maybe was given a body. Like Frieza did with the mental training and everything. But since that doesn't really make too much sense in the terms of Goku and what we would know him as a soul instead of a cocoon, it's much different. I'm just going to say that he was either given another body, or maybe, just maybe, he was given a copy of his original body to train with, and then his body, whenever it was destroyed by Tien, or just the last option being the most logical, right whenever his body was destroyed by Tien at the end of the Buu arc, and then right past Daima to this moment, Goku did not stop training. Like, he kept on training and training and training and training and training. Like, he did not stop. It was nothing but training. So, yeah. And after that, Goku and Beerus lock eyes, since Beerus and Whis are the ones who brought him back to life along with these other Saiyans. Well, they weren't dead, but you get the point. And Beerus just eyes Goku and says, "You must be the one I saw in my dream. You're the one who slayed Frieza. And you're the one who these people have incessantly not stopped talking about. That one who had his mind, soul, and body corrupted by that illness." Interesting. Goku says that, "I know you want this Saiyan God thing or whatever everybody's talking about, but I think I want to test your power for myself to see how strong a god of destruction is. And I want to test the roots of my training in the other world." And Beerus allows it to see if he is the Super Saiyan God. Like, what the heck? What problems could it do? So, the fight begins. Goku turns Super Saiyan, but then just then, he doesn't go 2. He goes Super Kaioken. He mastered Super Kaioken in the afterlife. And Beerus is a little caught off guard. Just like that kid Gohan stealing Kai, like basically power-ups and potential, Goku, he stole the North Kai's ability of that Kaioken. Interesting. Like father, like son. They both have a relationship with the Kais. Then, Goku does go Super Saiyan 2, but then stacks Kaioken on top of it. Super Kaioken 2. And then, he further powers up ferociously and goes Super Kaioken 3. Because even if he was not given a disposable body, did not do mental training, or not, he would still have way more than enough time with the training that he would do, since it would be all training. And basically, I'm not going to canonize the Otherworld tournament, maybe that, but like overall, Goku's just non-stop training. There's no tournament to get to, and he has nothing that he is going to be stopping to do or anything like that, so it's all training. That's how he has up to this maxed level. Screw Super Saiyan 3 mastered, he's mastered at least very closely to mastering Super Kaioken 3. And he rushes towards Beerus and propels himself for a furious dragon punch, but Beerus dodges it. But like against the fight with Frieza, this punch or attack was a ploy. Just like the double kick, the sideswipe kick he used on Frieza, this was a sideswipe punch into a kick. Because right whenever Beerus dodges the attack, Goku goes in for a furious uppercut kick that, like the one Broly used in his Z outing, and also Goku used against Janemba. It would be a really cool transition, but this kick only stunned Beerus for a minute, because then Beerus propels him with a furious flick. But Goku catches himself midair, dropping out of the Kaioken, seeing that this god of destruction just basically took his most strongest kick in this form and made it seem like nothing. And Gohan and Vegeta must have gotten him farther than this. He knows it. But Goku smiles and propels his aura and says, "I know that Vegeta and Gohan gave you a better fight than this. But that doesn't mean that I still won't. Get a load of this." And then Goku ferociously powers up into what eventually becomes a very familiar scene, and everyone's beginning to see his eyes go red, him tearing off the top part of his outfit and ferociously screaming in an apish roar. Yeah, Vegeta and Gohan know what this is. Goku continues to propel his aura, as he transforms into Super Saiyan 4. Yeah, Gohan just smiles, with Vegeta just looking on. They both expected Kakarot would achieve this. Kaioken was a surprise, but if Goku all he could achieve, at least in Vegeta's eyes, is Super Saiyan 4, then Vegeta and Gohan are definitely still bunches of times stronger. I mean, that was obvious, but they don't know. Goku still has some stuff up his sleeve. Goku goes to attack, but Beerus just blocks it with a single finger and is kind of disappointed because if one kick was all he could do and this form is the best he could manage, it's clear he's not the Super Saiyan God either. But Goku just says to Beerus never to judge a book by its cover. He said that Vegeta and Gohan aren't the only Saiyans that could give him a run for his money. And the fact that if Gohan gave him so much as a fight to almost go full power, he is going to see from his own dad that he has way more power than he's letting on. And he fires his elemental fire Kamehameha he used on King Goma at full power, and this does catch Beerus off guard, and it explodes with a furious blue, orange, and yellowish explosion. But after the smoke clears, it shows that Beerus had excelled his Hakai aura and blocked the attack with a ball of purple Hakai energy with the aura surrounding his hand and his entire body. And then Beerus uses a gravitational Hakai push and just forces Goku back. Goku knows that that was pretty much his most deadly attack, and it basically did nothing. But he's not done yet. He refuses to give up. And he goes in for what seems to be a punch. But here, I'm going to take what Daima should have done and canonize Dragon Fist. And he goes for this power, and Beerus is caught off guard, but then roars his own roar at the Dragon Fist, and then excels his entire body at the speed of destructional light, because I'm trying to make it, foreboding and destruction-like, and just slams his hand and his body down and just forces Goku on the ground. Beerus smiles and says, "Those were some interesting techniques you had there. You actually caught me off guard." But then he just says to Goku, "Your boy actually got me past 70%, while the prince got me at least somewhere around that area. But your boy definitely did more than either you or the prince, which shows you aren't the Super Saiyan God either. If anything, that boy seems to be the most likely candidate. I was expecting high hopes for you. I guess that illness took what excitement I was hoping to have and flushed it away." But Goku smiles and says, "I didn't say I was done." And Goku begins to power up again. And it's just exceedingly powering up. Beerus is actually a little bit taken aback by this. He wasn't expecting him to have more power, but this was Goku's ultimate trump card. He didn't get to practice well enough in the other world. 4 was very hard for him to master. He hasn't yet gotten there, but this he wanted to pull off since he mastered it with all his other forms, but he didn't do it yet. Like with the blue Kaioken, he's going for 4 Kaioken, Super Kaioken 4. But since he has wasted almost all his energy canonizing Dragon Fist and using the elemental Kamehameha and using what's not yet a mastered Super Saiyan 4, close but no cigar, he drops out of the forms, damaged, tired, exhausted, and injured, and collapses on the ground. Beerus smiles and says, "It seems like all that power took everything that was interesting about you and put you down." And then Beerus looks and says, "Now's the time to give me the Super Saiyan God. Otherwise, I think I'm starting to lose patience." So, the ritual is done, but it's agreed that since Goku hasn't had any kind of, because what they just saw with Goku and how he hasn't been around them for so bloody long, they think that Goku deserves the power of the Super Saiyan God. So they're all going to do it. So Vegeta, Trunks, Broly, Tarble, and Gohan all empower their aura. As for Paragus, he does not have a righteous heart. Broly, on the other hand, yes, you could make the argument that Broly's rage and temper, since they have not yet been quelled like they were starting to in the superhero movie, means that doesn't have a righteous heart. But remember, Broly, unlike the Z outing and this being his canon outing, this Broly is an innocent Saiyan. He was just forced to become a bad guy and was taken advantage of because of his genetic makeup, that rage, that legendary Saiyan power. So this means that the ritual would work. So yeah, it's not going to go bad. So Goku does get the Super Saiyan God ritual done on him, and he becomes the Super Saiyan God. And Goku's and Beerus's fight goes pretty much exactly the same, except Goku actually gives Beerus more of a challenge, and I would have to say that Goku would give him about the same challenge that Beast Future Gohan gave, if not maybe a teensy little bit under. So it would be around the same. Beerus says that since Gohan, Goku, Vegeta, and everyone here, and all of what he's been through on this planet, bringing the Saiyans back and doing all this, it is really giving him a time and foes he never thought that he would meet in his entire millions of years. So, Beerus decides to save their planet, and once he feels up to it, maybe he'll let them train with him. But for now, he says that he is going to leave them alone for now. And he says, you all best keep up with your training, especially since you're so close to being able to master against me. But do not think that you were totally in control. I said that I was going 70 or 80%, when in actuality, I could be fooling you the entire time. But if I'm being honest, you are a few of my definite top 10 strongest foes. I would say top 5, but I don't know that yet, unless you people continue to train and exceed the Saiyan limits that even I didn't think that was capable for your kind. And then Beerus, before he leaves, tells them all about all 12 universes and how they had better be ready. Because one day, who knows, they might see those universes. And some fighters are even stronger than them. Over time, everybody gets to know everybody. Time passes. Goku gets to reunite with his family. And everything goes on. Peace ensues. Power-ups are gained. And everything goes on until Whis accepts Gohan, Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Broly, and Paragus onto Beerus's planet. How will the training and everything for the leadings past the Battle of Guards arc go into what will be the closing arcs of this tale? What about Goku? Will he be near his canon self? Or is he already at his canon self, yet stronger? And if this is all going to pan the way that it's already gone, what about Resurrection F and all the other arcs? Will Frieza even matter? Will the Tournament of Power even matter? Who will Zamasu take as his basic body for the Zero Mortal plan? And is the zombie virus now just a distant thing of the past after Daima and Super beginning? Or is Super Saiyan Hell and other things destined to bring it back? With all that said, stay tuned for part 13.